ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it is that time for the Breakfast Bankroll, Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Action-packed show today. CEO, founder of Atlanta Steaks and Seafood himself, Mr. Terry Smith, swinging on by, talking a little Atlanta sports as we get ready for opening day on Thursday. Is this Atlanta Braves? We picked ECSI VIPs. No, the Braves to win, I think, the toughest division in the land. Braves, Mets, Phillies, 1, 2, 3 right there. So good luck picking those three there. Around 10:20, 10:25, Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks at WagerTalk to talk some NHL as we're getting closer to the playoffs. And last but never least, the beast of NCAA baseball, the NCAA insiders, Matt, Nick, Quentin Mills, all here to get us ready for some midweek games before Friday in the Friday Night Lights. Shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. Of course, it's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play. Download the app. It is free. Zach, Travis, Guy, myself, Amber Hawley, Carol Bucks, Matt. The list is endless. Jump on board. You'll have a blast. Viva Tequila Seltzer, 6 flavors in all. The East Coast is cuckoo for coconuts. And, of course, AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Head on over to Facebook. Introduce yourself to Terry Smith. While you're there, jump on back to AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Steaks, chops, seafood, appetizers, wine. 4 subscription plans. Set it and forget it. Every 30 days, Terry drops off all the protein you'll need for the month. The only thing you'll need is another propane tank. So without further ado, let's bring him in. Mr. Terry Smith. What's up, Terry?
Hey, good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
Ready for some baseball.
Oh, holy cow. You know, we blink, Super Bowl's over, and then we get spring training, Cactus League, but in 2 days, your Atlanta Braves. A year last year where high expectations, and let's be honest with you, the writing was initially on the wall right in the first month. Your stud, your ace, Spencer Strider goes down for the year. Then Acuna gets hurt. Then Albies gets hurt. I think the person that worked the most in Atlanta last year, baseball, was your medical staff.
Yeah, they had a busy season. Unfortunately for the fans, but heck, we still made it to the playoffs, which was amazing. But we're very excited down here. It's 80 degrees down here and sunny up today. A lot of my buddies are on the golf course, so, but I'd rather be here with you. How about that? That sounds good. Yeah, don't forget your propane tanks and clean your grill. You know, don't want to have any cancer-causing agents on the grill if it's been sitting there for a while.
Well, It's funny, Terry. I was in Chattanooga from Wednesday to Sunday, and last year when I went to Chattanooga for Food Truck Festivals of America, we went from Boston to Charlotte. We had a layover in Charlotte, and then we just jumped on a little plane and headed over to Chattanooga. This year, my first time going and coming back, I got to be in the Atlanta airport, and holy cow, what a sight. That place was amazing, Terry.
It's a whole city into itself. So it's like a cement cruise.
It definitely was, but the hospitality was second to none, of course. So jump in. I sent you a text yesterday. Schwellenbach, 33-1 at Circa for Cy Young. Of course, Paul Skeens is the heavy favorite, which he should be, of course. But as I said, the Atlanta Braves, healthy. Sounds like you're going to ease in Spencer Strider. You're going to ease in Acuna. Give me the update on those two.
Yeah, we're looking hopefully when they're both doing well in spring, limiting their time on the field, especially Strider's pitches. Acuna says he's going to take it a little bit easier this year. We'll see what happens when he gets on the field. I don't know if it's possible for him to do that, but it's excitement is back here in Atlanta, spring ball. Both of them, I think, should be ready into the month in April, maybe 1st of May. So that's what everybody's looking like, anticipating. We're really fired up about our pitching starters right now. Of course, Chris Sale's back. If he can duplicate just, 3/4 of what he did last year, we'll be really happy. Lopez isn't quite ready yet, but Schwellenbach was probably, I think, our best overall pitcher the last few months of the season. Of course, Sale can't go, but AJ Smith-Schwaber, there are a lot of good things coming out from him. He's developed a couple new pitches, so he's a lot more confident and going after batters this year. So I think we'll see some old-fashioned Braves pitching. But you got 32 teams, and everybody's fired up, and we'll know more in about middle of May where everybody sort of sits. So everybody's really probably happy this time of year and see what their teams can do.
Well, listen, Chris Sale needed a new area code. He needed a new zip code, and it was the perfect landing. That was the Chris Sale that we knew and loved. But as it got longer in the tooth here in Boston, he couldn't stay healthy. His last injury is he fell off a bicycle of all things, and missed a couple months. So what he did last year was Cy Young Sale. Now, of course, you and I were doing a show and we're getting ready for your playoff game, and Chris Sale tapped out. He had a back issue or whatever. Now, that's the Chris Sale I'm a little worried of. Listen, I show you my best stuff. Now, be prepared for the other Chris Sale. And I think you said it best. If we can get 75% of what he did last year with a healthy Strider, well, now you're cooking with Crisco.
Yeah, that's what everybody's looking forward to. Hopefully that scenario plays out, and we'll be right there at the end, ready to challenge those mighty Dodgers that nobody can think they can beat them, but we're not scared of them. So, but like you said, our division is going to be tough to handle as well with, the Mets and Phillies and. Well, Washington, we're not quite sure of, but it's going to be in the Marlins. You never know what they're going to do. So sort of feel sorry for those guys down there. They go win a World Series years ago and then get everybody out of there and they lose, the next 20 years. But, yeah, everybody's fired up, ready to go next week, and we'll see what happens. Looking forward to it.
Is it listen, every year, high expectations, obviously World Series with the team the Dodgers have created. Their under-over is 105.5, by the way, and their next closest competitor in their division is the Arizona Diamondbacks, and they're supposed to be 16.5 games behind, Terry. So again, your under-over is 92.5. The Mets and Phillies are 90. So initial expectations is Braves win the division by 2.5 games, Terry.
I'd be great if we do, but if we come in second place and have to play in game and start a big run, that's fine as well. But winning that division is always huge, and of course you never know about that little playoff slip. You got to wait 5 days to play. So, but yeah, we're all looking for some gloves and bats and balls to be thrown around here real soon.
Well, let's step on to the football field just for a minute here. Again, you try to make it as easy as possible. And when we last left, Michael Penix was your quarterback. Kirk Cousins is going to get traded, and we're all going to shake hands, sing kumbaya, and life is grand. And yesterday, today, Kirk's holding on. You're sticking and staying with Kirk. I mean, we've already anointed Michael Penix your quarterback here. What is going on with that situation, Terry?
No, we don't know what to say. I mean, the organization's been, fumbling around for decades, and we still haven't been the same since 28-3, as you know, up there in your world. But I know the players aren't happy with Cousins, holding out the injury. The coaches and the staff had to know it. You don't go for, throwing for 1,500 yards in 4 games to, can't throw it 8 yards down the field. So, but I thought they were going to get rid of him, at least get a draft pick, get something for him. And I guess he's now just, hoping he's a backup if Penix gets hurt. So it's just really a weird situation here. We know what we need here is defense. So, the draft coming up next month, we better draft defense. So we got the talented players at running back and receiver. O-line's still, I think, pretty good. Can always have some improvement. Nobody's happy with the decision. A lot of the fans and the sports guys down here that's really upset with Cousins and what he did going on the shows and seeing what happened with him. So just a weird situation. And of course, the Falcons will make it, that's right up their alley. So it's strange.
Well, I'll just say this: when Rodgers takes his thumb out of his you-know-what and signs with the Steelers, that leaves the Giants, and the Giants will have a decision whether they sign Russell Wilson, or I hope that your management team is strong enough to say, hey, while Rodgers is holding out here, call up the Giants? What do you think of Cousins here? You can still draft a quarterback at 3 if Shador slides to you and you want a quarterback. You'll get instant veteran leadership with Cousins while you're molding Shador or whatever you decide to do. Is there any of your Atlanta guys down there talking about that?
I haven't heard about it. I just haven't heard about it. I know. I think Rodgers would be a great fit in Pittsburgh. He won't have to throw it 50 times a game. You got, Steelers are known for their rushing attack and defense. That'd be a great place for him. He's. I know there's a few players up there saying, "Hey, let's make a decision and get the ball rolling." But it's going to be interesting what happens next month in the draft and just see where we head. But I would rather see Cousins leave and not have that can't spit out the word, but just a ruffle within the clubhouse and nobody's feeling comfortable in the clubhouse.
Well, I have to go there. Another arrest for the Georgia Bulldogs, 4-star wide receiver. I think he crashed actually into an apartment building, if I saw the picture correctly. You can bring all the talent in the world there, but something about driving, speed, recklessness has been haunting you guys for a while. What the hell is going on, Derek?
I think it's called 20 years old and a little bit crazy, but my buddy posted something the other day saying the secret to Kirby's success for 24 wins in the past 2 years is 25 arrests. And the other joke was about we're taking over Phil Fulmer, Tennessee record. So, I think a lot of it's just young age, no discipline. It's probably happened at a few more, colleges around the scene too, but it just seems to be happening a little bit more here. And, with the media coverage and everything like it is, it's pretty easy to get found out. But I think Kirby got rid of them. So we'll see what happens. He may be a little more stern and with the discipline with all this going on. But I just know we're glad to get Carson Beck out of here, because that was just causing tons of trouble here within the team. And we all think he was playing not to get hurt last year. So, but Kirby has to make that decision with those two guys. It's not easy.
Well, spring football in the air. The Georgia basketball team made a little run actually late in the season, and congrats for making the dance, of course, there. But it's Georgia's spring football season. What's the talk? What's the expectations? You got a quarterback in place already? What's going on down there, Terry?
Well, it's I think Kirby's taking it slow. He's looking forward to the spring game. I think he'll probably be packed out, just like a fall game. But I want to say something about our Georgia baseball team.
Yes.
We're 3 in the nation. We just whipped the Gators 3 in a row down in Gainesville. So, the college baseball, you got coming on later, it's become a huge marketing item. And those stands are filled. Excitement, and you look out for our Bulldogs, in the next couple of months playing baseball. I think the basketball is getting better. We just weren't ready to handle a team like Gonzaga with that experience and years of winning. We're just learning how to win here in basketball. I hope we don't lose Ace and Newell to the draft, but we need to keep recruiting good players and see what happens with Mr. White.
Well, again, you blink if you went to the kitchen to make a sandwich and let's say a beverage, or as I would like to say, you went to the grill, you put on a nice filet, you got a burger going, you're all set for a big game. You get into your seat and it was 27-3, Terry. I had to rub my eyes 4 times. I was like, holy, you weren't just blitzed. You were 85 bear blitzed.
Yeah, my wife goes, "You coming home and watch the game?" I said, "Have you looked at the score? I don't think I'm going to come home." So, so it's that was ugly. Yeah, it was over early. Not many games, played out that well, but you can see how tough the SEC is with 7 of the 16 teams, left, coming from our area. It's sort of strange that you consider the SEC a basketball powerhouse now compared to, used to be Kentucky and maybe one other team sneak in there years ago, but. It's amazing how strong the basketball is here now.
Well, again, nothing but exciting times. Last but never least, 3 weeks from now, Augusta, Magnolia Lane. You got to be super stoked. You got your Braves ready to win the East and maybe, battle the Dodgers, the almighty Dodgers, of course. And here, your Georgia Bulldogs make the tournament and get blitzed by Gonzaga. Baseball team, number 3 in the country. Football team, spring football. And here we are now, 3 weeks away from the Masters.
Best time of year. Well, there's a few times a good year, but March Madness is still one of the top 2 or 3, sports events in the world. I always tell myself I'm not going to stay up late, and I go to bed at 1, the first couple nights. And but yeah, March Madness, baseball, Masters, little fishing, little golf, your own little tennis excitement is warm on the tennis court as well. Got the Miami Open down there going on right now. But we're all looking forward to a fun spring and the weather to stay warm and people to get those propane tanks out.
All right, we're going to go quick commercial break and we're going to wrap it up here with Terry. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Good Food. At Atlanta Steaks and Seafood, you'll find the highest quality meats from a variety of delicious cuts, tomahawks, salmon fillets, ribeyes, and plenty more to choose from. With an easy-to-use mobile-friendly website, selecting your pick of meat is made quick and easy. And don't forget, worrying about your dinner is a thing of the past. Check out some of the amazing subscription packages that Atlanta Steaks and Seafood has to offer. fresh steak and seafood straight to your door. Order online at atlantasteaksandseafood.com.
As we always wrap up this segment, and Terry, you're going to be busy here every week, every other week. So what do you have for everyone watching and listening this week?
Yeah, our special this week, any order of $1.99 or more or a subscription pack, we're going to add 2 pounds of some peeled, clean, deveined shrimp for you ready to go. You don't have to peel it, don't have to shuck it, whatever. You can make some quick shrimp tacos or just add it to your steaks on the side. But any order of $1.99 or more or any subscription pack, we're going to throw in 2 pounds of our famous peeled, clean, deveined shrimp. And also, if you want some very, very good wine to start the year, we have some clean crafted wine by Scout and Cellar. It's comes ships right to your door. Doesn't have any additives, added sugar, any added sulfites that could cause some migraines with people. But we have whites, reds, rosés, about everything. But we're pushing the stakes here harder to coming up with a spring season. And it's always nice to have that in your freezer and not have to run to the store and know you have the best quality and consistency in the industry.
Terry, always a pleasure. We can't thank you enough. Go enjoy the 80 degrees. Get out there, play 9, whatever you got to do, and we'll catch you back here. There you go. In about we'll catch you next week, okay?
All right. Thank you, sir. You have a good day.
You too. Terry Smith at Atlanta Steaks and Seafood, at atlantasteaksandseafood.com. Go check him out on Facebook at Terry Smith. Quick commercial break. When we come back, Mr. Andrew McInnis. Stay tuned.
Jared, hey, we're going to need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern?
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of this stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
That's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
Let's bring him in, Mr. Andrew McInnis.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Looking forward to a big slate in the NHL, but feeling pretty good. A little bit nervous about my Habs, as I always am on game day. But other than that, things are pretty good. Jeff, how are you doing?
Doing well. Doing a lot better than the Bruins, of course. We got to do our Bruin talk here for a quick second because that's all they deserve at this point. We talked in July, August, September, the Swayman holdout. I'm going to fight for all the rest of the goalies. And the truth of the matter is that Cam and Don kind of screwed the pooch by getting rid of Ullmark, and Swayman held all the cards. Well, they eventually gave him the 8 for 8.5, and he divided the locker room. Then next thing you know, slow start. Swayman sucks. The guy that played every other game, big bear hugs to Ullmark after every game. Next thing you know, Montgomery's gone. The locker room's still split. Well, long story short here, the dumpster fire, Marchand, Carlo, the list is endless. Swayman is a sieve right now, the worst goalie in the NHL. People around here are saying, hey, you don't practice, no training camp. This is what you get. What does you think? What is the outside market thinking about the Swayman disaster?
Well, obviously, it doesn't help the case, Jeff. Like you said, what happened at the start of the year, it just didn't help. Nothing that he did all year really helps his case. And then, of course, the performance by the Bruins. And then, of course, you called it from the get-go about the whole waving the white flag thing, and that's kind of the thing. I mean, when you've got a team that pretty much sold off Coyle, sold off Carlos, sold off Marchand, and then you've got the whole deal going on in the locker room with Swayman, so that's obviously an issue. And then Pasta's pretty much the only guy that's been around for a while. It makes things very difficult on the team because this is the problem, Jeff, is that nobody really knows who they are. Nobody knows kind of like what the team stands for, what they really are at this point, because they're not battling for a wild card spot. They're probably not bad enough to get a top 5 pick unless it gets really bad for the remainder of the season. So that they're in kind of what people would call in draft world no man's land. And so you get rid of this guy, you get rid of that guy, you get rid of that guy, and what does this bring us to next year? And so I wish we had Zadorov, the video of what Zadorov said to the reporters. That was interesting too. When they talked about him fighting, Swayman trying to fight, he pretty much made it clear the locker room doesn't really like him because he said, do you like him sticking up for the team? And he says, is that what he was doing? No comment. So they don't really care. But I just pulled up moneypuck.com. And to your point about Jeremy Swayman, as far as this statistic, with the goals saved above expected, they have Jeremy Swayman ranked 11th worst in the entire NHL Hockey League compared to every goalie that's played. So some teams have played 3 goalies. Some teams have played 2 goalies, right? He's supposed to be the starter on this team. So keep in mind, Jeff, this stat, every goalie besides one on this list is a backup on this list. Every goalie besides Jeremy Swayman. So you got Swayman, 11, Spencer Martin, 10, Caden Primo, Vanacek, Artur Silovs, Connor Ingram, Fedotov, Mrazek, Urson, Grubauer, and the guy that you and I both know gives up 4 goals a game, Alexander Georgiev. And that's crazy that he went from playing for the Avalanche to the Sharks. But here's the big outlier, and I'll go throw back to you with this. All those players that I mentioned, those other goalies, Jeff, under the category games played, we've got 9, 11, 10, 24, 22. This guy played 51 games this season. It's a bit different when your guys playing. If you can throw in a goalie on a bad night, 3rd game in 4 nights, second half of back-to-back, sometimes you just know your backup's not going to give you as good of a chance. We're talking about the starter here. 51 games played. It's not like there's much of an excuse because this is supposed to be the guy.
If you're the Bruins at this point, do you just play Corpusella 2 out of the 3 and then just say, Swayman, you owe us a year? I mean, I don't know what you would say at this point.
Well, his no move clause kicks in on July 1st? I think that's when it kicks in. So they might try and I don't think that there'd be a point in trading him because then it would be like a complete disaster. And let's be honest, like we do know when he's at his best. Like, let's not forget, he's the guy that shut down the Maple Leafs in round 1. He's the guy that's been there for certain playoff series. But at the end of the day, a lot of people said, was it him or was it the defense? And so this is I know I do a bad job, Jeff, of bringing up different teams, but I always think because I consume so much Montreal Canadiens content that I can compare a lot of things you and I are talking about to the Canadiens. And so this is one thing I'm going through right now, and I'm arguing and I'm defending Samuel Montembeault, the goaltender for the Canadiens, to fans, because anytime this guy lets in a goal, like a semi-bad goal, whatever it may be, people are calling for his head. But here's the difference. This is why people say plus minus for players isn't a good stat to look at. And this is why goals against average and save percentage are tough stats to look at, because the Habs have had a losing roster for the last 5 years. So when you look at Montembeault's numbers, it's kind of acceptable to look at some numbers that haven't been that good, right? You'd expect it. If I told you they missed the playoffs 5 straight years, you'd probably think their goalies weren't that great either. But that's the difference. Swayman had a good defensive core in front of him. He had a winning roster. 2 years ago, they broke the record for single wins. So if you think about it like that, like imagine if a goalie like Montembeault played on the Bruins 2 years ago. Call me biased, but how much different is that roster? How much different are the results? Maybe a few less wins. I'd still say Swayman's the better goalie, but we're starting to realize certain teams look a hell of a lot different and certain goalies look a hell of a lot different when they start trading away pieces. Like, imagine if Carey Price had that team that Swayman had 2 years ago. He would have given up a limb to have one of those teams, right? And so a team like that looks a bit different. No Marshawn, no Carlo, no. Carlo was one of the defensemen on the Bruins that played the most minutes out of anybody. I know the locals love McAvoy, but Brandon Carlo was actually one of the biggest, minute munchers for the Bruins, and now he's gone.
Well, it's going to be interesting because I don't know what they do with Sweeney and Cam, and if I am a goalie hungry team where I think I'm a goalie away, we always talk about the Oilers, we talk about the Leafs. Now again, is someone going to run to the window and just want that contract? Would the Bruins have to give up, sell 80 cents on the dollar? I don't know what it is, but again, if you trade Ullmark and now you're getting rid of what you thought was going to be your goalie for the next 7-8 years, and now you're one of those teams looking for that goalie, because obviously we know Korpisalo is not the answer, and I don't know what they have in Providence right now, but it's a shitstorm. I don't know if Sweeney survives this. I really don't, because I think you can pinpoint the problem was if you were going to play hardball with Swayman, you can't move Ullmark. And so once you moved Ullmark, you had already showed your hand. Swayman then holds the whole, trump card there.
They thought they were being so smooth, Jeff. They were like, okay, we're going to send him to Ottawa. We're going to deal that and that. We're going to get our guys signed. And who are the big winners out of all of this? The Ottawa Senators. They're in the playoff spot. They're a lock. I mean, let's be real here. The last time I checked, they were minus 4,000. This team is in the playoffs, and the Boston Bruins are out. I mean, Linus Ullmark won. Linus Ullmark, some people said in the offseason, oh, man, I feel bad for Ullmark. I saw Bruins fans saying this, oh, Ullmark has to go to the Senators. It's too bad he was the one that had to be the odd man out. Well, how does that look now for Swayman? One guy's going golfing, and one guy's probably going to the playoffs.
Speaking of playoffs, before we dive into today's slate, huge slate, give us, you're nervous. It's game day. Give me your gut, the Habs, as we wrap up the season.
Jeff, I'm always scared to say things because I'm such a diehard fan that I feel like any content I do positively towards them, people are like, oh, yeah, he's just a fan. But I said a few weeks ago, I was bringing up the numbers on the show all the time on the Breakfast Bankroll saying 4-1, 450, 5-1. I was like, I just don't get it. Why are Columbus plus 150? Why is New York? And this is the thing we've said every single week together on Tuesday mornings is that New York is the best team on paper. But a lot of times in hockey, on paper doesn't always mean the team that gets the job done. This road trip means everything to the Montreal Canadiens, Jeff. They have a 4-game road trip coming up. It means the world to them. They're playing Tuesday. I believe it's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. I could be wrong on that, but I do believe there's a back-to-back in there on Saturday, Sunday. One thing interesting is I could be off by a number or two, but Samuel Montembeault scheduled tonight to play his 10th straight game for only the second time this season. And if you remember, Jeff, and I'm sure you do, that red-hot backup goalie, Dobish, that they brought up, right? So a lot of fans are scratching their head. What the hell's going on? Why aren't they playing him? And I get it. Honestly, I thought he should have played Saturday night against Colorado or the game prior to that against the New York Islanders. I would have played him one of those two. I probably would have played him against the Islanders last Thursday, but they didn't. And he let a couple of weak ones in that one, but they still got the overtime point. And then, of course, the unbelievable comeback. I don't know if you caught any of that game, Jeff. I mean, people talk about the Bell Center being a great environment. It was insane. I had a really busy day Saturday, as I was telling you through text. I came home, slept from 6 until 8:30, woke up for the second period, third period, overtime, and shootout. It was electric. They're down 4-1. They come back. And it's funny because you'll see on my timeline, I'm always complaining about other teams getting those loser points, as I like to call them. But when the Habs get them, you won't see me complaining then. So they get that loser point, as I say, in overtime. But sometimes it's like you're the one being hunted, or you're the hunter yourself. And the good news is now they're the ones that are being hunted. They're in that spot, Jeff. The last time I checked, they were plus 130 to make the postseason. And last night, the worst thing that could have happened. The Islanders and Blue Jackets go to overtime after what I thought was a crazy call. I don't know if you saw what Patrick Waugh was saying today. But he pretty much said, look, if Toronto is scared to overturn calls made on the ice by the referees, then we don't need Toronto anymore, being, the video review people, which was very interesting. But I'm feeling good. This road trip is everything. It's a 4-game road trip, the final 4-game road trip of the year. I think they have to go like 9-5 their next 14, something like that. 8-4 their next 12. They got to do something like that. But I'm feeling pretty good right now about it.
Well, I'm rooting for you. Of course, the Bruins have long left the building there. So we got to, and not supposed to be, of course, from Boston and rooting for the Habs, but we do enough work together that we can. Huge slate tonight. Philly at Toronto, Pittsburgh at Tampa, Ottawa at Buffalo, Nashville at Carolina. I think the Barstool guys are in Nashville. No, that's this weekend. Vegas, Minnesota, Montreal at St. Louis. I'll give you that number. St. Louis opened up at 165, minus 165. Your Habs plus 140 with a 5.5 over. A little money trickled in on the Habs. Now you can still get them at 140, but St. Louis is now minus 156. Ovechkin in Winnipeg tonight. Detroit on a back-to-back at Colorado. Seattle at Calgary, and the Rangers at the Kings. Big slate. What are you seeing, Andrew?
There's a lot of different ways to go. Totals, sides, underdogs, favorites. I'll start with one thing that I know this is probably we could ask a 5-year-old for this pick right now, and they'd probably want to give us, bet against the Sabres. But one thing that I've been doing a lot, Jeff, is when a bad team is off a win, you fade them. Bad teams aren't winning 2 in a row right now, let alone 3 in a row, that's for sure. But the San Jose Sharks win a game, find out they've won a game. The next day, you want to find out who they're playing against, right? The Buffalo Sabres on Sunday defeated the Winnipeg Jets 5-3. And based on the odds screen I'm looking at right now, Ottawa opener minus 135, current at circa minus 153. I mean, when I look at that, anything in the minus 150 range, that's the Jeff and Andrew special right there. I mean, there's no way with that game. There's no way with fading Buffalo. I am taking the money line. The team total is the way to go. I'm looking at even money or plus 105, depending on where you're looking around. I find it interesting, Jeff, because what I try and do with clients is I'll stick to the same book, like book or two. I know people say shop around. I'll let them shop around because I just try and stay somewhat consistent with what I'm looking at. But I do see plus 105 out there, Senators team total. And just for people out there watching right now, when you go from that minus 135 opener to overnight money at the respected books, some books even I'm showing minus 160s, and those are respected. You can have it with the other public books showing minus 165s and 70s. They're just chasing big time. But bad teams off a win, you want to go against, which I think is good. Speaking of teams that usually I root against, but tonight you probably want to look at. Sometimes I've seen you do this, Jeff, and I'm curious if you have any interest in doing this for tonight. And you call it in your write-ups the double dip. The Toronto Maple Leafs last night or yesterday, I saw a report. The coach was stopping practice multiple times, throwing around F-bombs, making sure they're taking things very serious. And, one thing we can say about this Leafs team, they've still been the same Leafs team as far as these letdown spots that they've had under the new head coach this year. But the response they've had after those, I found, has been pretty good. Like, there's no denying that they might lose to a random bad team that they shouldn't lose to, right? Giving up 5 goals, 5-2 to Nashville, that's not very good. But the double dip I was talking about was the first period over comboed with that puck line in the first period as well. I think at the very worst, I think what would happen is, Jeff, if we don't get the 2-0, we get the 1-1. And so because you're getting plus 124 for the Maple Leafs puck line first period, minus 115. And you and I always say this. I always think about this when I'm talking on Puck Time about these first period plays. I find that you're better off hitting these minus 115s and 120s than the minus 145s. It's unbelievable. It's like you and I with the team totals. If you see a team total minus 125, no. If it's minus 105 or 110, that's still okay. But the second it gets crazy, you know what's going to happen? That team's going to win 3-1. That team's going to win a low-scoring game every time. So your thoughts on that, the double dip here with the Leafs?
I like it. Here's what people really got to look at here is the overnight over was 6 minus 20 cents. The opening number was 5.5 today. So if people don't do their homework, they see a 5.5, they get a little sketchy there. They're like, it could be that 1-0 at the end of one here. Flyers, I don't want to say have been my kryptonite. They've played in some wild games there. So, and Toronto, we know, can score with the best of them. So I do like where your eyes are there. The full game total, team total for Toronto right now is 3.5 even money or minus 110. And they actually have Philly team total opened up 2.5 under, minus 166 in one shop, 150 in another, and 140. So I like where your eyes are there. I expect a good solid 20 minutes from the Leafs. And as you said, sometimes you try to get cute, and cute's okay sometimes. So we like the Leafs in the first period. And then if they scored the early one, nothing worse than scoring in the first 2-3 minutes on the fresh ice. And now you're sitting there for 17 minutes like, and then you're sweating the last 3 or 4 minutes, Andrew.
Oh, then this is the best part is that obviously nobody's playing the game to break even. But when you're getting the plus money, like sometimes – when you get a massive, massive favorite, the first period is minus money with the puck line. We don't want that right now. So we're still getting a respected plus money. So we'll look towards that. I think it's worth a play. And the funny thing is, Jeff, what we've seen oftentimes with this Leafs team off games like they're off of, and for what it's worth, I didn't bring up the Flyers, but the Flyers, they just got their butts kicked by the Chicago Blackhawks, believe it or not. So this game could see fireworks early on. Some teams, when they get their butts kicked, I look towards like a defensive response. I don't see a defensive response from the Flyers. They're not really one of those teams that I have circled as a team that can defensively respond. So they're going to respond with their offense and their urgency. But yeah, I think that this Leafs team, what they've also showed us over the years, Jeff, is that first period's huge because they might win that first period, and then after 2, it could be 2-2. That's just how they are. Like their sense of urgency, their attention span with their urgency. Like if they were playing like the Florida Panthers tonight, their players are waking up feeling different. And that's what separates good teams and bad teams. And I'll tell you what, in my personal life, I coach on the weekends. I've been dealing with that with the team that I coach right now. Is that right now, for example, like I coach volleyball and the tournaments are best 2 out of 3. Against the bad teams, we've been going to 3 every time. It's unnecessary. It's unneeded. We're trying to win 2 straight sets, but the team loses focus for 1 set every game because they know they're better. They know they're better than their opponent, and then they end up locking in, and we blow the team out in the 3rd set. Kind of remind me of the Maple Leafs, and I don't really want to be the coach of the Maple Leafs.
Looking further down the board here, we talked about the Avs. They made some moves in the deadline. The Red Wings are pretty impressive. Hats off to you. Last night win. Now they're going to bounce right into Colorado. Colorado opened up minus 275 with a 6.5. Now 300 with a 6 here. How thoughts on Colorado on a back-to-back versus a rested Avs team?
It's one of those things where you're looking at the Avalanche here and you're thinking, where can I find the most value? Where can I bet this team in the best way? The funny thing is about the Avalanche is that last game was against the Montreal Canadiens. They're going to be focused because they won that game, but they won't overly be happy about it. And this is the thing that we always say. First game back after a road trip, Jeff. But the road trip was on Saturday, or finished Saturday. The game is Tuesday in Denver. Which team is at the disadvantage here? And I still think that when we look at the Red Wings, they're coming in, and if they were off a loss, I would be, maybe they're going to keep up a fight. I don't trust this team, Jeff, back-to-back wins right now. I don't, because that's been the whole problem with the Red Wings. Last night, I looked at the game. I looked at sense of urgency, looked at a couple of the numbers, and I was like, man, I just really think that the bookmakers are kind of overstepping and overvaluing this Utah team. Let's take a swing here for a 2% play on the Red Wings. But on the second half of a back-to-back, and this is the thing, is when you look at the Avalanche, they lost a low-scoring game to Toronto. I saw some of the players in the media still talking about it. They blow out the Senators, and they only win by 1 over the Habs. So if you ask them, the road trip was 2-1. I don't think they'll be too excited about how that overly went. I don't often give out as many props as I used to, but I'm going to give this one out here. I think this is a Nathan McKinnon game. This is your classic Nathan McKinnon game. Over 1.5 points is plus 105 for him. Over on shots on goal for a guy like him right now is 3.5 to the over at minus 120. They scored 5 goals, including the shootout winner. 0 points for Nathan McKinnon. Cale Makar, same thing goes for him. His over 1.5 points in this game is plus 155. Jeff, I think that that's the way to go in this game. And I don't often give out props, and I know I'm giving out the 2 top dogs to you. But if I was personally betting this game, which I don't think I will be, I think that's what I would be doing. The team total over 3.5 is minus 155. Giving out this guy over 1.5 points, plus 105, plus 110, Makar plus 155. There's certain games where the top dogs perform, certain games where they don't. And they were able to score 4 goals on the Canadians without McKinnon, Makar, Necas, these guys scoring, which is very impressive. Like if you were betting that game against the Habs and you were a Colorado fan and you bet props and you got some drinks, you're having a good Saturday night and you're like, they scored 4 goals and not 1 McKinnon goal. So I think this is going to be a game for the big boys. But I'll tell you, my dog of the day that I like, Jeff, tonight, a team that everyone has lost faith in. And it's always fun to bet teams the second that everyone's lost faith in a little bit here. I want to release the Kraken at plus 110. Doesn't this seem like a little bit of a weird number here? Minus 130 for a team playing with all the swag, coming off a great road trip. They're feeling good. They want to make the playoffs. And you got the Seattle Kraken that are just the most inconsistent, losing team right now. Shut out against the Wild. They lose against the Oilers. Why are they only plus 110? Sign me up. People will tell you not enough value for me. I'm in. I'm fading the Flames right now.
Well, I love where your eyes are there for sure. The Calgary, I don't know, lack of Flames. How's that sound? The Saddle Dome back in the day. I mean, I could go on and on. Joe Madden, I apologize for beating up your Calgary Flames there. It's Tuesday. We know you're off to another show as we speak. The scroller's been going at McInnis Picks at WagerTalk, WT.buzz /AM. Excuse me. Tell them what you got, Andrew.
$5 Tuesday, every Tuesday, 1 play from every handicapper, just $5. Some best bets are still $25 or $35 at WagerTalk. And if you want to join with me right now, all access long-term, you can follow me on Twitter at McInnis Picks. Try and let me know what you're looking for, 7 days, 30 days, whatever it may be. But puck past 25 takes 25% off a full season of NHL plays. Jeff, I wish we could talk for about an hour and a half together. I appreciate it always, and let's cash these tickets tonight.
We'll catch up on your channel Friday morning. Andrew, have a great day, and I'll see you on the grid tonight.
Thank you. You too, Jeff.
Take care. Andrew McInnis, go follow him at McInnis Picks at WagerTalk, WT.buzz /AM. A couple quick commercial breaks, and we're going to bring in the NCAA insiders. Stay tuned. ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. We got college baseball midweek, and I'm losing tracks of weeks. These guys will help me out. I think we're already at week 7, if I'm not correct. It's some big-time baseball here. I love the midweek spots here. It gets us ready for Friday Night Lights. It enables us to do a recap over the weekend, as we had Terry Smith on, and Quentin's not going to like this. Georgia Bulldogs with a sweep. This isn't football. I won't say this isn't even basketball. This is baseball. Georgia and the almighty Gators here. Nick's Tennessee balls just keep on rolling. So let's see if we can do this correct. Nick Hatcoat and Quentin Mills. What's up, boys?
What's up, Jeffrey? Good morning.
What's going on, Jeff?
Well, Q, I'm going to start with the good news, and that's your Florida Gator basketball team. What'd you see so far in the first weekend?
Yeah, I think they're actually sleepwalking a little bit. Defensively, they were one of the top teams this year, and they looked really stout for the first 10 minutes of the Norfolk State game, and then they just kind of, you could tell, let off the brakes, and it took them a while into the UConn game to kind of rein that in. I mean, they had 9 turnovers in the first half. Like, that's very sloppy. But I'll tell you what, Walter Clayton, first-team All-American, that kid, he just needs an ounce of space, and he sparks that team. And, I mean, he's truly an X factor for them. If he's on, they're one of the scariest teams and a, potentially a favorite to win the national title. If he's off, it's tough. The other guys need to step up.
Well, and you nailed 2 bullet points for me, because we win against Florida's first game, Norfolk State team total under, and they scored 14 points in the first 12 minutes, and then the next 8 minutes, it was like, holy cow, what the hell happened here? And then you just played grab ass. I mean, I think you're up 25, and you're like, all right, we know we got this game. So you just now play grab ass for the last 22 minutes or whatever. All right, I'm going to play producer here, guys. Bear with me here for 1 second as Mr. Grissom just showed up here. So I'm going to go to 1 quick second here, commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to bring him in. So bear with me for 1 second here.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop.
All right. I knew I did something wrong. Give me 1 second, guys. There we go. Mr. Grissom, Mr. Mills, and Mr. Hatcoat. There we go. All right, we're back here. Look at
just Hollywood up there. Dang.
This is called, I've got dark circles under my eyes, so we're going to go outside and wear sunglasses.
Matt, we were just talking about the Florida Gators and their run. And it's funny because this is the NCAA Insiders year number 3. We started with baseball. We go to college football. And when there's talks of NCAA hoops, we're talking about Quentin Mills, Florida Gators. It's funny. Coach Cal, you hire Coach Cal, and we all joked and laughed. And Coach Cal's first press conference comes into the building, and he's got a piece of paper, and he goes, "Where's my roster?" He had no one on his team. And so he puts together a team, and it was a bumpy team. It was a bumpy start. Your star player hurt. There's a lot of Coach Cal stuff going on. And it was one of these, did we hire the right guy? Are we going to go through this BS? And listen, I back in the day remember the 40 minutes of hell when Arkansas was cooking with Crisco. Well, Coach Cal put together something where you had a decent stretch run. And I'll just say this. I don't know on your bingo card if you had them surviving and advancing, and congrats, you're in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I have us losing to Tech, but I think this team, they're showing a lot of grit. They're playing for each other, and getting Boogie back, I think, was huge. If we could get Aduthiera back, that's going to help us even more. But you saw the makings of this roster all season. They dealt with a lot of injury. Getting Adu from Tennessee, he had that experience. But this run has been pretty awesome. I can't complain about it. Starting 0-5 in the SEC, that wasn't on my bingo card, but here we are, Sweet 16. But Nick, I think Hughes Florida Gators, I think they're the best team in the country right now.
Well, I had some futures on Florida. I had futures back, 6-7 weeks ago to cut the Nets down to make it to the Final Four. Did the same thing with St. John's. Thanks there, Mr. Patino. But that's for another show there, of course. But Duke's flexing its muscles as well. The NIL has kind of kept Cinderella out of the dance. It's allowed the mid-major guys to be a farm system. Hey, I'm going to hire Nick Hathcote. I'm going to give you $50,000. And after year number one, Nick Hathcote averaged 28-8. And then comes Arkansas and hands him, instead of $50,000, $500,000. And he says, adios, amigos. So, Nick, first weekend in the big dance. And then, of course, you can talk about your Tennessee Vol baseball team.
Yeah, so I'm a Notre Dame basketball fan, just like I am football. So not much to talk about from that standpoint because Notre Dame's freaking awful right now. I think they'll figure it out eventually. Like, I love the head coach hire. But, yeah, college basketball, it seems like one of those things that we're seeing in college baseball, just to kind of put things into perspective and kind of tie them together. This NIL is really changing the landscape of everything. Like, we used to see so many upsets. We used to see, because some of the younger, or not younger teams, but some of kind of the mid-majors they'd play together for 3 years and they'd have like 4 seniors starting and they could make a run in the dance. That just doesn't happen anymore, because if you have a star player, like, look at Matt in Arkansas, for example, they stole like the best player from FAU. It's just one of those things where it's like the NIL matters so much because like they're just getting picked apart from that perspective, where that's why we've seen, I can't remember what the stat was. It was something like the favorites were like 48-12, like straight. It was something like crazy, where like they're just straight up. And we saw, unfortunately, because the best part of March Madness is usually the upsets and the buzzer beaters. We saw one, and it happened to be like last night, yesterday, for Maryland. Maryland is nobody. It's not a Cinderella. That's a top 6 team in the Big Ten. It was a 4 seed. So
it may have been a travel.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Also, that guy out of the corner, I don't know why he didn't help, but that's just a different thing. But yeah, it's one of those where it combines with why we're seeing college baseball, where it's like there's the top 20 and then a huge kind of gap between everyone else. And it seems like college basketball is there as well, where it's also the top like 15, 20, and just the mid majors, like anymore, like the biggest seed left is Arkansas. And I don't think anybody would consider Arkansas as a Cinderella story, considering they have Coach Cal, and they were projected as, I think they were preseason ranked like 6 in the SEC.
We are Cinderella, but it's happened in baseball too. I mean, we haven't seen a mid-major make a run to Omaha in 4 years?
No, I mean, we had Oral Roberts 2 years ago.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
But I think
that's a key point. So Oral Roberts 2 years ago makes this run, and then last year is just complete trash because
they were all seniors.
It's all seniors, and in term with NIL, like they have nobody that they can bring in to kind of mount that class. Anybody remotely good was going to a Texas, an Arkansas, Florida, a Tennessee, and then you look at the team, you're like, wait a minute, like this was a Omaha team last year, and they didn't even make the tournament this year. Like it's just crazy how bad the turnover is. It's really the only team remotely, I think, close to having any shot at making a run is probably either Troy, Southern Miss, or Coastal in terms of a mid-major, and then at least
Irvine,
on the East Coast,
maybe,
and Irvine.
Yeah.
But outside of that, there's usually 10 teams that you could probably see shaking up some magic in the regionals and supers. I don't see that this year. I mean, you're stretching to get 5 this year, and it's a testament to the NIL. It's gutted mid-majors, and it's great for our teams that we root for because we happen to root for, Power 4 teams, but it's sad for the sport because it is nice when Coastal wins a 2016 championship, when Oral Roberts, hits a walk-off against TCU and Omaha. Like those are what makes college baseball magical and memorable. And I don't think we're going to get that this year.
Well, Nick had sent in our group chat, what was it, over under 6.5 SEC and ACC teams in Omaha?
Yeah.
I thought that was a good prop. If any of the sports books want to hang that.
Jeffrey Benson, if you're awake here. Before we get into the midweek games, because there's a handful of good ones. Matt, give us your weekend, what you saw from your Razorbacks on the diamond.
Their offense is exploding right now. They're number 2 in the country in weighted runs created plus, behind Georgia, who I don't think is near Arkansas in the pitching staff. So feel good about that. Tennessee's still number 1 overall. I think they're 4th in weighted runs and then 2nd in Sierra. I mean, anytime you get a sweep in the SEC, I think it's a big deal. I didn't see it happening like that. It just completely dominated them. I thought Sunday game could get weird. They typically do. But I don't know. I think when we get Gage Wood back, I think that pitching rotation may shove Gackle out, kind of like Hagen Smith had to go through his sophomore year coming out of the pen. For whatever reason, Gackle's just the one that's really struggling right now. So that'll be interesting to see, but we'll be there tonight. I'm going to take the boys to the game. I've got them all betting predictions on what the final score is. So that should be fun. Colin Fisher versus Jason Schaff in that one. Arkansas, they'll probably run rule them at this rate. It's hard to say. Colin Fisher, one of the best weekend or midweek starters. He's got like a 192 Sierra right now, 182.
I want to bring this up here. Adam says no mention of FAU as a mid-major that can make it to Omaha. They're playing better than baseball than Coastal right now. LOL.
We've talked about FAU. They were there in that top 8 of the graphic that I put out. I'm going to put the other one out for this week, just momentarily after the show. But FAU's got a good team. They're very well balanced. This is the problem, though.
They've played. Like they played down Miami and they played a UConn, which we still don't know what UConn's going to show up this year.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say real quick. They're 66 in the RPI right now, and that's only going to drop with how kind of bad that conference is. So, like, their only way in, like, Dallas Baptist is going to win that conference. Like, they're just flat out so much better than everybody else. So, FAU, they will struggle unless they literally go on a tear. They're going to struggle to be an at-large bid. Like they might be like late 3, but they have I don't know, see the RPI improving because they've kind of played their best part of the schedule already, which wasn't that impressive.
Yeah.
So with it being 66 right now, I have a hard time seeing that climbing. So their kind of way in is to somehow win that conference and possibly winning the conference tourney because they already played Dallas Baptist and they played well, but Dallas Baptist still took 2 out of 3 from them.
That's kind of the dagger.
It's tough. Like FAU, yeah. Like we posted. I think Matt has put it on our graphics. Like they've been so good pitching, so good on offense. Like they're very well balanced. It's just they're going to have a hard time with their schedule getting an at-large bid. That's kind of the problem.
Yeah, they're 15th in weighted runs created, 16th in Sierra.
Yeah.
But the problem, too, is you could maybe get into a regional and pull the upset. It's a lot harder in a super regional winning a 3-game series.
Also to win can they win 4 games in a in a regional, because they'll probably be put in Florida. They're probably going to be put at Florida State, or they'll put Georgia this year, or Alabama, and it's can they beat those teams twice? That's kind of tough.
I mean, Stetson ran into it last year.
Yeah.
The problem, so FAU, they're going to be the College of Charleston this year, where they had a really good season and they get left out because you're going to have, maybe a Florida or, maybe Texas A&M or UVA kind of sneak in that last, maybe 3 or 4 seed. And that's FAU is going to be this year's College of Charleston. And it sucks for those players, but that's the name of the game when RPI and you play on a weak schedule. I mean, unfortunately, the Sun Belt has just gotten so well that they hold weight. The other conferences just can't. You have to win the conference, or you're not going to get any at-larges.
Yeah, the NCAA would rather have the 13th or 14th SEC team over the 3rd conference USA team.
They've got an opportunity. If they can win this series this weekend at UTSA, I think that would be a really good feather in your cap. Then going into an East Carolina series after that.
They're going to win their conference tournament as well, I think.
Yeah.
Midweek majors games. I'll start with you, Q. Florida at Florida State, baseball grounds of Jackson. Right now, that's where I don't have any opening odds. Weekend update. Tough weekend for your Gators, but expected a bounce back here.
I don't know. So they beat Florida State last week, coming off a sweep. It's a rivalry. To me, it should be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. I don't like that it's a midweek where they play in Tallahassee, in Gainesville, and then in Jacksonville. It does give us a quality game. I think Florida State will be favored. The problem with the Gators is they have a short week coming off a sweep, playing a rivalry as a midweek. Pitching's not lived up to it, whether it's, injuries and then guys just not stepping up. The offense just looks abysmal right now, especially after the Friday night loss that they, handed on a silver platter to Georgia. Really kind of let the series go at that point. I don't know what kind of team we're going to get. This is frustrating. Sully's frustrated. He expects his freshmen and sophomores to step up. They're not. So this is another big opportunity for them to kind of right the ship and then get ready for their Thursday matchup. But I did want to shout out Mr. Dawson. UConn's playing Boston College, first home game of the season.
That's crazy.
So I don't know what the weather's like, but on schedule, they're probably glad to be back home. And one team's going to make 500 record. They're both sitting at 10-11. So got a lot on the line here.
This is literally the halfway point in the regular season too, and they're playing their first home game. That's insane.
Yeah.
Nick, what do you see in the lights, and give us your Tennessee Vols weekend update?
Yeah, the weekend, I think, went as well as expected for Tennessee. Obviously, you'd love to have a sweep and win 3-0. It's just hard to do on the road right now in the SEC. So taking 2 out of 3, especially after losing the Thursday night game. Zane Adams is a problem for Alabama with their offense. If he's a top half, Friday night guy, they have a good chance of winning a lot of Friday nights just because of how good their offense is. And for Tennessee, I think I replied to one of Q's tweets because he was complaining about Tennessee losing. It was their first back-to-back. It was the first time they lost 2 games in 369 days or 370 days. I can't remember what it was. That they'd lost 2 games in a row, which was shocking.
The season's over.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, the season's over. Just cancel the season. But it was great to see them rebound. And I don't think people understand how good Phillips is on Saturdays. It's one of those where I've been kind of trying to say it on our show, say it on this show. You don't understand how good Marcus Phillips is, and he's he's better than Liam Doyle right now. And people have been preaching Liam Doyle all year, but Marcus Phillips is almost every stat's better except for strikeouts. So it's one of those where it's for them to rebound after losing to ETSU on Tuesday, take the loss on Thursday, and then pretty much dominate on Friday and Saturday. And then Saturday they threw literally 8 2/3 were freshmen, true freshmen, that threw 8 2/3 against Alabama with no runs. Was super impressive. So I'm very happy. like not much to complain about. Go to South Carolina this weekend, so it's back-to-back kind of road series. So let's see how they handle it. But tonight, just because you mentioned midweek games, the one I'm most looking forward to is Coastal at Clemson. I think that's going to be an awesome one because it's one of those where Coastal just dropped a series at Troy. And we mentioned it, I believe it was on the show Tuesday, where we were looking forward to the series. And we said, like, whoever wins this, like the Troy Coastal series is probably in line to host. So now, like, this game against Clemson becomes even more important for Coastal, just RPI-wise, where, like, just if the Sun Belt possibly wants to get 2 hosts or even if they want to get, like, a 2 seed. Because I still think, like Q said, like the Sun Belt is above other mid-majors. But also they're so top-heavy between Troy, Coastal, and Southern Miss right now. This game means a lot, and also I don't know if anybody like Jeff, you might not have seen that Wake Clemson series, which I didn't get to watch much either. I was like gone most of the weekend and busy, but it was so like high scoring. There's no way Clemson has a ton of pitching left, or at least any they want to use. Today, especially leading into they have Georgia Tech this weekend, who is at the top of the ACC right now. So I doubt Clemson wants to throw many of their main bullpen guys. So I'll be looking to hopefully get Coastal in like a plus money type of play today.
I think Matt, you will. Looks like Noah Samal will go for Clemson. He's pitched 2.2 thirds innings.
Yeah,
he's got a 6.94 Sierra. Going against Luke Jones.
Luke Jones is quality.
I'm surprised he's throwing. Well, I guess, like I said, it's probably because Coastal wants to win this one. Like it's a big time RPI and big time matchup.
Remember, this is a regional matchup from last year. Coastal got beat on the hidden ball trick when things kind of derailed. So Coach Snall is going to be kind of using that as motivation. Like they got us the last time out, and hell of a coach, and he's going to motivate the Shants.
Matt, you see anything midweek here?
Yeah, this East Carolina Duke game, I'm going to assume that they're going to make Duke the favorite. I would probably be on East Carolina. I'm just selling on Duke this year. I'm actually down more on the ACC than I thought I would be. I mean, Virginia has not looked great. I really thought Louisville could be really good, and here they were struggling with Virginia Tech this past weekend. Really, I think Clemson and Florida State are your two from the ACC that you can trust right now. North Carolina's kind of built that trust back.
I'd still say Wake. I think that was a good enough series.
Yeah, I mean, Wake Forest is still really balanced. I still need to see. I didn't think that them and Clemson would be like in shootout games, though.
That I agree with that. Yeah,
I thought the pitching staffs for both teams were going to be a lot better.
Sunday Clemson is a big Achilles heel, though. Lagernick is getting shelled when he comes out.
Yeah,
that's 3 straight that he's gotten rocked.
Yeah. And they don't have – well, they need to get what's his name still hurt. Once they oh, my gosh, why am I forgetting his name? The starter from last year. I can't remember.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah. See, Jeff, we're good at this. We know our names.
We know who we're talking about. There's so many players.
Listen, guys.
I'm looking at a board of like 80 midweek games. This is amazing. But we have no line, so it's kind of hard.
Here's a West Coast spot. I don't know what the line's going to be. I'm sure you'll get a line. But Santa Barbara today is playing St. Mary's. Santa Barbara just got swept right by Irvine.
Yeah.
So that's the spot where they really need to rebound and rebound quick, because in their conference they're kind of in the same boat. Like they need RPI, and they've got to take care of the midweeks to have any shot. So if you can catch a somewhat decent line on Santa Barbara, it's not a bad spot.
UC Irvine taking on USC. That'll be a good one. We have
Irvine's another team. Like they need RPI wins.
Yeah. North Carolina, South Carolina. That should be a good game.
Well, it makes it tough that, again, these guys, and I saw your timeline, they're getting better, but they're so slow to get up the odds and stuff for these midweek games. You wake up overnight for any major sport. There they are, the overnight numbers, the morning numbers, the opening numbers, and then the public runs with them. This is one of the sports, and we do shows with the lacrosse, Premier Lacrosse, same thing. They just drag and drag and drag. And I honestly think, guys, it's because they don't want the sharps just to be sitting there poaching some bad numbers.
That's 1,000% right. We've all talked about, we all have a big
It's all
group chat.
Saturday mornings.
Yeah, we all have a big group chat. There's probably, we all know like the main like 10 of us that kind of like do it. And we're like the ones that'll be waiting at 2 a.m. And 3 a.m. and then just like hammer a number. And that is what they're worried about. But I think that one of the tweets that I like the most, I think Matt tweeted it out like 3 or 4 weeks ago, where it said, we have almost every single college football line for week 1 already posted. Like literally with totals, you total spreads, and it's like 200 days away. And we can't get a game that's like 2 hours from now to even get posted for college baseball. It's extremely frustrating in our line of work. But you're completely right. It's all because they don't want sharps like us and like a few others that we know, like just hammering an immediate number because they don't pay close enough attention to know what number it should be set at.
Well, I love, again, our midweek magic here. That's what we're going to call it. Midweek magic, NCAA baseball. We'll be back, obviously, on Friday at 11 for the Friday Night Light segment there. Thursday night, NCAA hoops. We start the Sweet 16. Going to be a great weekend of hoops. Wishing, obviously, Quentin, your Gators, the best of luck. And, of course, Matt, your Arkansas Razorbacks as well. As we always wrap up this segment here, Nick, where can they find all your work?
Yeah, in Halfcoat 413 on X is the best place. Also, our Discord is a great place where, like, I know all three of us were crazy busy this weekend, and none of us are really in there, so we can apologize to them for that. I know I've talked to a couple of guys who kind of DM me on there and just have been like, hey, like, can you answer this? Can you answer this? So it just happened to be one of those like weird weekends with spring break. But like even without us in there, there were still like there's a guy in there that put all the pitching matchups that he's seen for today's matchups. He's already posted it in there, which is awesome for like not just
185 us. People in there.
Yeah, so not just us, but it's everybody else like that follows the sport and like wants to gamble like on their own and like do the handicapping. They can do that like in our Discord, like just between them, even if we're not involved. So it's an awesome place. So I would say join that. It's completely free. I actually need to kind of relink that to the top of mine. Like I know I probably haven't posted that in a couple of weeks. So I'll actually tweet out the link to that after we're off the show.
It's like
Quentin
a college
Mills.
baseball community chat.
Yeah.
Old chat room.
Q, where can they find you?
Q Millie, 3 L's, 2 Y's, and at NCAA Insiders on Twitter.
Mr. Grissom?
collegebaseballinsiders.com, at Grissom on X. Hey, we have a couple of lines out. Chanticleers plus 150, Clemson minus 200. These are on Bet Saracen. I don't know
so I probably don't have it.
If you have FanDuel, they've got to be copying lines from somewhere. Like Oakland is Bet Rivers. I don't know. We'll see. But I've got the full board up, so now I'm about to dive into this. Jeff, thank you for having us on here.
No,
as we work our way through betting without lines.
MGM has Akron and Oakland placed. So I don't know
nice. I wonder how they landed on that was the one that they were going to hang.
Jeff, if you want some Akron or some Oakland, go to MGM.
Whoever is in charge of scheduling for the NCAA tournament, why you put our game at 10 p.m. Eastern? Like, not that he would, but Q's not staying up to watch that game. Why? Yeah. Why do we have games from 11 to 11 the opening weekend, and then the second weekend we do them all in the 5-hour window that they give us?
Because the opening weekend, you have the 64 teams. So now,
that's logic. I'm just complaining.
Yeah, well, again, they got
a noon game. Like, space them out. We don't need them at 6, 6:30, 7, 7:15, 10:15. Like, it's a little crazy.
FanDuel has about 20 lines up now. so I know
Or
what I'll
just
be
put
doing.
more on the Saturday-Sunday slate.
It's just about TV contracts and money. They don't give a rat's ass
I just
about
hate
us.
that they try to
No
fit them
common
all in
sense
prime
involved, Jeff.
time at night. Make those some bitches during the day.
Gentlemen, enjoy
David.
the games during the midweek. We'll catch you Friday at 11 a.m. Go Gators, go Razorbacks. Nick, better luck next year. Listen, your run in football next year will probably last for 5 years of shows here, that magical run by Notre Dame in football. So,
What, you saying it like we're not going to be back next year? Come on, Jeff.
well, no, I'm just saying that was the start. You took it to this level. That's what the expectations are
Don't
going to
give
be.
him dynasty hopes, Jeff.
Oh, here we go. DJ Lagway all of a sudden steps foot on campus.
Guy's a god.
Go follow the NCAA insiders on X, Grissom on X, Nick Hathcote, NH, and Hatcote413, and of course, Mr. Quentin Mills. That's 3 L's, 2 Y's. Guys, have an amazing day, and we'll catch up on Friday.
We'll see you,
Thanks,
Jeff.
Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Go follow the boys. We can take a quick commercial break, and we'll wrap it up. Stay tuned.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop, not any higher. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop.
Action-packed, almost an hour and a half. We started with Terry Smith, CEO, founder, AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Jump on over to that website, place an order today, and get a free 2-pound bag of Devane shrimp, the big boys, shrimp scampi, surf and turf, however you want to use it. From there, Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks at WagerTalk, of course, talking some NHL and the boys of summer NCAA insiders, Nick Hathcote, Quentin Mills, Matt Grissom catching you up with some college baseball here. Guys, it was a great start to the week, of course. Last night, the closing bell. Today, an action-packed show. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., Brady Cannon is back talking some PGA golf, and we'll be back with the closing bell. Thursday morning, Adam Trigger talking some NCAA hoops, and then Lou Finicaro back. UFC in Mexico City at 3 p.m. And the Friday, we're back with the NCAA Insiders, of course, at 11 a.m. And then Sean Alvarez, Mr. Smooth Turn 2, will be talking some horse racing. Until then, guys, have a blessed day, and we will see you soon.